كثيرا الحمد لله على كل حال. I seek refuge in Allah from misleading and from being misled, from betraying and being betrayed into ignorance by others. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide my heart and to guide my tongue. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of us to have a look that is merciful, a heart that is enlightened, a tongue that is truthful, a knowledge that is useful, a conduct and a character that Allah is pleased with, and may He have mercy on all of us and raise us in the company of the righteous. Ameen. Okay, alhamdulillah. So, in my story, first I'll start out with my name, Omar Regan. Omar Regan, my mother, she was not Muslim, and she became Muslim. She kept going from church to church, to church to church. This is what she told us. We was little. She was going to church and was asking, for looking for some guidance. And she said she would go into a church and they were like, no, this is not it. Then she would go into another church and she's like, oh, no, this is not it. And then she went into another church and she asked the pastor, and she said, listen, man, I keep going from church to church and I can't find what I'm looking for spiritually. And she said the pastor told her to pray to God for guidance. And so she started praying for guidance. It just so happened that we lived in the area called Highland Park, Michigan, in Detroit. And around the corner was this Muslim. There was the Dar al-Islam movement back in 1980. And I was born in 1975. And so I was 5 years old, and my mother kept seeing Muslims. She just kept seeing Muslims. They was very active inside. It was in the hood, so she was wondering, like, what is it that make all of these Muslims do what they do? So she started asking questions. And then, alhamdulillah, it led to her taking Shahada. And the time she took Shahada, I was 5 years old. So alhamdulillah, she started studying. She got married. She married a man named Luqman Abdullah. And alhamdulillah, he raised us as Muslim. We stopped doing Christmas and everything. And our family, my aunts and all of them, they disowned us. They actually called the police, and because my mother had become Muslim and took us out of public school and put us into a Muslim school, they called the police. And my father was studying. I called him my father because I didn't know my biological father. He had disappeared. So my mother was a single mother at the time. So he was studying in Chicago, not too far away, but it was like 3 hours away. He was studying. And my family had told a bunch of lies to the police, like my aunts and my uncles and them. They told a lot of lies just because my mother had took Shahada and become Muslim. And they came, I remember, they was kicking in the door to take us away and try to put us in foster home, all because my mother had become Muslim. And at this time, we was still in Highland Park. And Allah saved us. They did. They put us all in the back of a paddy wagon. But alhamdulillah, Allah saved us and we all went home. We moved away from over there. And my father, he started a masjid. He come back and he started a masjid with two brothers. Actually, he wasn't trying to be the imam. They was pushing him to be the imam, and he ended up being the imam of the masjid, and we grew up in the masjid. And growing up in the masjid, it was tough, if you will, because of the area that we lived in. We moved the masjid over to get a bigger place, and then there was a lot of gang members. And they would do drive-bys. Like, honestly, I'm so grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm in the masjid, so I'm not going to make up any stories. They would do drive-bys because they did not want us telling the people that they couldn't sell drugs. And they didn't want us telling the prostitutes that they couldn't work on this particular block. So growing up, we had a lot of fights. With gang members, and then, subhanAllah, with the police at the time. That's why this Islamophobia thing today, I've seen it before, so it's not really bothering me too much. I don't really feel affected. My father had the adhan being called on the loudspeaker, and the police pulled up on the sidewalk stood on the car, the hood of the car, and literally broke and snatched the speaker down. And then they arrested him. It was the non-Muslims who stood up and was like, leave the Muslims alone, the non-Muslims inside of our neighborhood. So it was, I mean, growing up, this is the things that I experienced. Alhamdulillah, we had good times also. They did a news documentary on us when we was little and everything. When I started writing because we grew up knowing that music was haram. So, I mean, honestly, we grew up, everything was haram for us. This is what we knew. Everything was haram. So we stayed inside of this box, and we didn't really know anything about the outside world. I started writing what you would call now nasheeds, and we would perform them beating on the pots and pans inside the home. Later, we would do different community events. Excuse me. We would do different community events, and my father would encourage us so that we would still, be active. Do your nasheeds, and we would do it. Alhamdulillah. Later, I kept writing, and I would sneak and I would listen to rap. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna write. And so I started writing, and I got my brother, and I was writing for him, and I started making this group. It was called SOA. Now I'm getting older now, I'm like 10, 12, and we started writing songs, all for Allah. Well, what happened was we started sneaking and doing fun community talent shows. We would sneak off and do it. And it would be like everything was about Allah. We would tell the people my loyalties to one, and we had alhamdulillah, we had some good lyrics in there, just really kind of blasting. My first rap poem that I wrote was like, I am Abdullah, my religion is Islam, we believe our God is one, he has no daughters and he has no sons. This is how we would rap. We would really go hard. Well, after we start winning the different talent competitions. Like, it would just touch people. Alhamdulillah, it would touch people. So, and my father, he heard about it, and he just let us, let us do it. Like, so he said, well, they doing it about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and we was doing it a cappella too. So later I started writing with different, we started performing the talent shows. I started writing with different people. And this got the attention. We started doing shows with Eminem because we started building a name for ourselves. And we was the Conscious Brothers, if you will. Everybody like, oh, those the Conscious Brothers right there. We know they gonna spit knowledge. This is what they used to tell us. Alhamdulillah. So with Wu-Tang, Eminem, tons of other, Royce da 5'9", all of the people that you might know now, like D12, everybody was younger then. This was before Eminem had his deal and everything. We would put on shows together. As artists, we would come together and put shows on. Well, what happened was I decided to kind of deviate from the plan. I had a plan to say that I was going to try to make some money and then be able to build SOA and then come back and help the Muslim movement. And that didn't work. It didn't turn out right because I wrote this song. It was about getting money, and then I wrote another song. It was about going to the party. And I never thought for once that Shaitan was working. I promise. I never thought for once that Shaitan was all in the mix because I had a beautiful plan, and I'm like, I want to help Muslims. I want to help us because we didn't have, we didn't have wudu stations and stuff like that. We was pouring water. That's how we grew up. We was pouring water from them gallon jugs. So I was like, I want to help us because we didn't have anything. It kind of all fell apart with they wanted to take, the record labels came and was like, yes, we want to sign you to the deal, but this SOA, Slaves of Allah, it's not really working. So change it from SOA, Slaves of Allah, but make it sound like SOA, Slaves of Allah. So it put ESSO-way. That's how they did it. And it means it means that in Spanish, and then way. And so then my brother, alhamdulillah, he was stronger than me. He said, no, I don't want to do that, man. We selling out. And I was like, no, man, we straight. It's okay. As long as we make the money, we can come back and build the masjid. We can help the masjid. Shukran. He was like, no, he wasn't with it. They wanted to sign us together, and everything fell apart. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. This is when I left. I left Detroit, and I went out to Los Angeles. I left the family. I kind of went on like with some of you youngsters. It's almost as if you leave the deen in a sense. I left. I started hanging out with Muslims, and everybody was Muslim, but you would never know anybody was Muslim. It was just we was all just messed up, man. Living our life like we didn't have no Quran. All of us knew Quran, but we started living like we didn't know no Quran or anything. And the only thing that I can honestly say that I'm so grateful to Allah about is something inside of me that I truly believe that my father, he kept instilling salat. I never stopped making salat. This is the only thing that I truly believe saved me, because I was hanging out in Atlanta and we all kind of wanted to get our thug on. We trying to be gangbangers and stuff. And I was there. I could not make salat. The boys would be like, hey man, let's go to the mall. You know what I mean? We're going to kick it with some girls. And I'd be like, I would hear the adhan because they had the adhan in Atlanta on the loudspeaker. And I said, nah, hold on, let me go make salat first. For some reason, I was always afraid of that. You hear the adhan, I mean, the stories that my father told me about shaitan, you know what I mean, runs. I was like, oh, well, I know I'm bad, but I don't want to be like shaitan. So I was like, I'm going to go pray first, and then I'll meet y'all down there. And they was like, oh, come on, man, we'll pray at the mall. But I know that we wouldn't really pray at the mall. So alhamdulillah, everybody would come and they would follow me just because I wanted to go to the masjid. I didn't realize that I had any leadership potential or anything. I was just scared and I wanted to pray first. That was it. So alhamdulillah, I'm hanging out with all of these people, and my mother was about to have my little sister. And when I left that group of friends, one of them got shot, paralyzed for the rest of his life, Muslim. Another one went to jail. Another one of my good friends, he got killed by the police. They shot him up. And I was supposed to go back. So I started saying, wow, I knew that they wasn't making salat all the time. I knew it. So I was like, wow, man, subhanAllah, I really need to get back on my deen, man. I need to start before it happens to me. Well, I mean, alhamdulillah, it didn't just happen like that, but I'm grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I had never just stopped making salah. I went back to Detroit. I'm 17 now. I got married. And alhamdulillah, I was working and trying to, I was young and what do you call it, dumb, if you will. I'm going to just tell y'all everything. Magic was like, don't leave nothing out. So I'm like, okay. I got married. And then, alhamdulillah, it was a trial. It was a big trial because young, I didn't really know anything. And I was getting ready to have my son. We was going through feuds. I had a whole different perspective. I was like, okay, I'm having problems. I got another wife. At 19 years old, look at this. I'm 19 years old. I have 2 wives and don't know what I'm doing. I mean, really, I have a kid, and then, subhanAllah, I have a kid on the way. At 20 years old, I have 3 children, man. You know, I'm 3 children, and I'm sitting here like, wow, what's going on? I didn't finish school. I didn't do anything. Alhamdulillah, my kids, man, I'm so grateful to Allah that they're with me today, and we all making salat. But this 20, I left Detroit after all of that. I mean, subhanAllah, I messed up both of my marriages because I was just young, dumb. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I messed up. So when I messed up, didn't have no wife no more, I had 3 children, I was just looking really pitiful. I was like, khalas, I'm out of here. I left. I ran away. I went to California. When I went to California, I didn't know where any Muslims was. No Muslims. I didn't eat meat because I was afraid to eat haram. I was like, oh man, from what I was being taught, all of the meat was haram, so don't eat no meat. I got real skinny. I lasted about 2 months, and then I was like, Bismillah, I gotta eat this meat. I'm hungry. I finally found some Muslims. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. I went to California, but I didn't have enough money to stay there. So I went to Las Vegas. I didn't want to go back to Detroit. In Las Vegas, you would think that this is, how is any Muslims in Las Vegas? I had a bunch of hair. I looked like somebody from you. I mean, I wish y'all could see a picture. It was messed up, man. I had all of this wild hair. I was trying to have braids from time to time. I had wild hair, and I put this bandana on. Just, I mean, honestly, just really wilding out. I was riding my bike. It was hot because I moved to Las Vegas. I didn't have anything. I went to found where just found the big masjid. I went to the masjid, but I was looking for some hood people. I was looking, is there any black people? I was wondering in Las Vegas. Is it any black Muslims? So one brother, subhanAllah, may Allah have mercy on him, he saw me there. I said, is it another masjid? He said, I know where you want to go. He took me to the hood. It was a masjid built from the ground up in Las Vegas. And they had an African American imam. So I was like, okay, alhamdulillah, I was feeling a little closer to home. I was happy to be able to be there. Nobody knew me, so I wasn't accountable for anything. I would just like to go there and make salat and leave. Well, it turns out that I end up overhearing different conversations, and somehow, you know how you don't know what you know? Somebody was talking and they was telling, I forget what the conversation was, but I answered a question. And the people's like, oh, he know a little something. He got a little knowledge. And then it led to another question, and then the imam came to me and started asking, where you from? You know, I was an interesting looking individual. Like, how you know anything and you look like you look? So it went from there, alhamdulillah, and then they started saying, okay, maybe you can help teach some classes, and they start reeling me in. So I started being closer to the community and getting to know everybody. Then, subhanAllah, I don't even know how this happened. Something happened, and then I had cut my hair. I started looking a little bit more distinguished. And then I taught one of the classes. It was Arabic class. And they was like, man, you know Arabic. But I would never tell nobody I knew anything because I knew that I wasn't living right. I wasn't a good example of Islam. So I wouldn't tell anybody anything. And I knew I wanted to do other things. So I did do that, but I didn't really want to be committed and be held accountable. So later on, I was like, man, okay, khalas, I left. I went to California. I was still running. I went to California, but while I was in Las Vegas, now listen to this, after I started getting my stuff straight and attending the masjid, I did Rush Hour 2 in Las Vegas. I did Rush Hour 2, and I did a show before that. I did the show MTV. And this is the reason why I didn't want to tell anybody about me being Muslim or teach any classes, because this MTV show, haram, 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 haram. Actually, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. It was bad. I had to, I had to sing songs. I was good at rapping, so I had to sing songs, and then I know, y'all don't have to say it, but I know y'all know that guy, Ricky Martin. I had to do his song, Living La Vida Loca, and I won the show. But let me tell you what happened at this show. Something happened. Because I was really into Salat, my father had scared Salat in me. Like, I'm so grateful, may Allah have mercy on him. I would sneak and pray. I didn't have, I would just sneak. I didn't have enough strength to pray out in front of everybody. I would take my chair and I would hide it behind the door. And then I would just sit there and I would pray. Well, I made Dhuhr on time, I made Asr on time, and then it was time for Maghrib, and I was scared because Maghrib has a small window. I was praying, and then the girls came in the thing, and were like, oh my God, he's praying. And they thought that I was praying because I was nervous about doing the show. So they was like, we should totally do that too. And it's funny, but that really affected me because they went behind me and started praying. And I mean, I don't know how they prayed. I didn't turn around. But I was like, wow, shame on me. You know, shame on me. Like I'm inspiring people to pray, and I didn't even intend to, but I shouldn't be afraid to pray. So it really affected me that day because I was focused on MTV. Not only that, after that happened, I was like, wow, that was a trip. The guys came in to get me. I didn't finish my Salat al-Maghrib. The guys came in, Omar Regan, we need you, it's time now. I didn't have enough time. Y'all seen that movie, Lion of the Desert? When the man says, give him time to pray. I didn't have the strength to be able to say that. So they was like, come on. I was like, I need 2 minutes to finish praying. I didn't say anything. I just got up and started walking. But what I did say was, I said, oh Allah, please have mercy on me, forgive me. I want to do the show, but I don't want to do it and miss a lot. But I didn't know what to do from there. I just kept walking. So I'm walking, and then all of a sudden we get up to the stage, and the guy does like this. What? What did he say? Oh, okay. Omar, can you sit down for a second right here, please? Because we got to get another take on these guys. When that happened, like you know the ayat, إذا سألك عبادي أني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة داعي إذا دعاني. You know, I know y'all know, scholars in there. Man, I didn't know that ayat then about when my servant asks of me, tell him I'm close, and I hear the dua, I hear the supplicant of every supplicant when they call upon me. Man, I knew for a fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered my dua, and I was shook. Like, why would he answer my dua? I'm jammed up, and I'm about to do something not good. So I was tripping. I sat there, I made Salat al-Maghrib. I salam down, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah. And as soon as I salam down like that, the guy was like, okay, Omar, we were ready for you. That's how I knew it was Allah. So I got on stage. I did really well. I was pumped up, to be honest with you. I was like, man, Allah got me. Allah got my back. And I did the song. I won the whole show. I won the show. And when I won the show, I got the attention of this celebrity lady, Debella Morgan. She was really attracted to me for some reason. I thought that was cool. But I was like, okay, it must be the salat. I knew that it had to be something else. It wasn't really me. I'm telling you, inside of my mind, I was really going through it. Alhamdulillah, I didn't pay that no attention. I'm grateful. I kept doing what I was doing. Then that's when I got the rush hour. How in the world did I get rush hour? This is what I'm serious. I'm telling y'all the truth. I don't even know. It came out of the blue. Chris Tucker is like 6'3", I'm 5'9". The double is supposed to be the guy that matches. Now I did do the I'll take my gum out. I did the voice. I was able to do the voice because for some reason, alhamdulillah, I was able to imitate. I think it comes from listening to Quran. Because when I was young, I can listen, I can play back. So now I was doing it. I would listen to Chris Tucker. I can go right back. I would listen whatever I listened to. Alhamdulillah, if I liked it, I can do it. So Chris Tucker, and let me tell you, I skipped one part. The guy, listen to this. I'm an extra. I started out as an extra doing Hollywood movies. As an extra, the extra is the person that's just walking in the background, and anything that I did will come out. I'll be like, there I go. That's me right there. Yep. You get 2 seconds. That's how I started. I was the guy, and guess who I played in this movie? It was a 70s movie. I played a Muslim with a kufi on and a bow tie. He was like from Nation of Islam Muslim guys. I thought that was interesting. But I was having fun on the set, and I was imitating Chris Tucker. And this guy came up to me and was like, man, you're more like Chris Tucker than his own brother. And I was like, okay. He was like, give me your phone number. And I was like, oh, it was Hollywood. I heard about it. I was still new. I heard about Hollywood. I was like, what does he want? I was like, but this could be an opportunity. I gave him my number, and he never called. I saw, man, I was like, wow. I thought that was about to change my life. They never called. I was like, "Khalas." This was maybe like a year later. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm there on set. It's 300 extras on set. I started out as a guy walking back and forth. The very first day that I'm on the set, guess who runs into me? That same guy, and says, and he recognized me, and he says, "Oh my God, hey, how you doing, man?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like, "Yeah, did you meet Chris yet?" I had forgot his name and everything. I was like, "No." He was like, "Come on." Took me in the back. I'm VIP now. I'm back there with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, and he was like, Chris Tucker heard about me. He said, "Is this dude? Is this the dude that been imitating me?" That's what he said. And I immediately said, "Yeah, what's up, man?" And he said, "What's up, man?" And then we started a small dialogue. And then the people behind him was like, "Oh my God, he sounds just like you." And he was like, "He don't sound like me." And this is how it started. Now, it didn't just happen. I was working on the set for about 2 weeks. I'm on the set for like 7 days. I'm just an extra walking back and forth. But I'm VIP still. Because I'm liked by the whole crew, so I can go where other people can't go. Then Chris Tucker is coming over, he's talking to me, he's saying things to me, and it was really cool. I was like, man, this would be so cool if they would put me in this movie. But I didn't, of course you can't ask for nothing like that. All of a sudden, out of the blue, one day I get a phone call. The guy says, "We need a double, we want you to do it." I was like, "Would you do it?" I was like, "Yeah." And I had grew some hair back. He said, "Would you cut your hair?" I was like, "Yeah." So out of the blue, subhanAllah, I got the photo double. Now let me tell you what the double is. He's not all that is cracked up to be. He's the guinea pig. He's the guy, because Chris Tucker has a big insurance policy out on him. He's the guy to save the guy. Like, I have to go in, if anything is extra dangerous and they're not gonna see Chris Tucker's face, they come get me. Go get Omar. They strap me up to all of this different stuff, and I run around, and they catch this shot of me, this shot of me. I'm the guy that they don't even put the stunt double. They want to keep the stunt double safe too. I'm the guy. This is what I'm telling you. I'm that guy, the lowest of the totem pole guy. But I look just like Chris Tucker. And now all of the extras, subhanAllah, listen to this. All the rest of the extras was so happy for me. They all was like, "Yay, Omar, you made it. You made it." I was like, "Yay, I made it." I didn't know what I got myself into. But it was good for me, alhamdulillah. I was back there with the stars. Jackie Chan, I was back there with all of them. And we talked, and it was very friendly. This is how I started paying attention to the different characters of people. Chris Tucker, very good guy. Jackie Chan, very good guy. Like, Hollywood hasn't tainted them. So after Rush Hour was over with, I was happy. I signed the papers and everything. I was like, yes, I'm about to blow up. Well, it didn't work like that. Chris Tucker, man, doesn't do a movie for like every 5 to 6 years. So that money ran out real quick, and I was just broke. I'm like, man, what's gonna happen from here? I left. That was in Las Vegas. I was like, okay, I gotta go get more work. I left there and I went to California. But I had a big problem, because when the movie came out, my name was not in the credits. So I was calling around. I was like, "Hey, man, y'all owe me because my name not in the credits." "Sorry, Omar. The movie's already out. Nothing that we can do. We can't retrack it. Sorry." I was very distraught, because this is how I was trying to sell myself to get more work. And I thought, honestly, for all of the sheikhs that's in here, I thought maybe this would be more halal if I worked behind the scenes. I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just acting like I'm kicking people. I was like, okay. Well, it didn't work out like that. I was just really distraught and jammed up. And I was like, okay, forget it. I got to find me some more work. And I went to California. And when I went there, I was like, wow, subhanallah, this is so nice. I wanted to get my kids. I wanted to get them out of Detroit. Even though I didn't have everything all together. I thought there was a sister that I was going to marry and she was going to work out for me. Honestly, let me tell y'all the truth. Okay. All right. This sister, I married her, right, at the masjid, but she wasn't Muslim. I don't encourage this to anybody. Please believe me. I do not. I want to say that on tape. I don't encourage this. I married the sister. Alhamdulillah. Um, it was good for me, but it was only good for me because I had this like